But for the timing, let's move on in the bulletin now. There is some big breaking news which is coming in. Remember, we've been telling you about the double jolt to the Yogi government. Well, inside track coming in, the latest person who has departed from the BJP's Mantri Chauhan's resignation. Inside sources are now revealing the real reason as to why he has quit. Well, remember, the inside details are now slowly coming up as to why Dara Singh has also quit. In fact, there are those who are saying that when it came to Keshav Prasad Maurya, during his stint with the BJP, he was extremely influential, practically the right-hand man of Mayawati. He had crossed over, but he was not very happy with the portfolio that he was given, with that of labor and employment. And similarly, when it comes to Dara Singh, there are other reasons than the ones that they themselves have stated as the real reasons, which is now coming up. So let me go across to Mohit Bhatt, who is joining us. Mohit, you must tell us, these two leaders have said that it is because of Dalit Asmita, for the OBCs being sidetracked, that they have decided to quit the BJP. But what is the inside detail that you are picking up for the resignation of these two leaders? Well, let me put that question across to Megha Prasad, who is joining us with that. Go ahead, Megha. Megha, if you can hear me? Megha, if you can hear me? Well, there seems to be a bit of a problem there. In fact, let me tell you what really is the inside track that we have been getting. Well, when it comes to Keshav Prasad Maurya, remember what we are picking up from sources. This is something that even his family members have been saying, that he had been asking his son to be accommodated and given a ticket as well in the assembly polls. However, the BJP said that they are not willing to lead up to Parivarvad and have rejected this detail. But when it comes to others also, there are other reasons perhaps that Dara Singh has also quit. In fact, it is being understood that that Maurya, in fact, had been rather discontent for quite some time, and he was looking for options. Almost 2 months back, he had also finalized his entry and exit and entry into the Samajwadi Party, and now we have Dara Singh also following suit. So let me go across to Megha Prasad, who's joining us with all the details. Megha, if you can hear me, I was asking you that on cameras they said it is the Dalit pride that they are standing up for. But is there something more than just principles that today they've taken this decision to leave the BJP? What's the inside track?
Well, Megha, I'm very sorry, but I could just not understand your question. The voice is so muffled. But here is a situation, for the Bharatiya Janata Party, where they are finding themselves in a bit of a sticky wicket, because yesterday one minister resigned, today another minister resigned, and it seems to us that mostly the people who have decided to get out of the Bharatiya Janata Party or the cabinet of Yogi Adityanath, they are doing so for two major reasons. One, that they are really not happy with the way Adityanath has been handling his cabinet. And secondly, of course, they've been asking for their own tickets from chosen constituencies, which are not being entertained. Now, as far as Mr. Maurya is concerned, Swami Prasad Maurya is concerned, I think his story is very, very clear. Number one, he had been asking for a ticket for his son from Raebareli district, one of the constituencies, Uttar, which was denied by Bharatiya Janata Party, citing the reason that last time around he was accommodated, given a ticket, and he lost. So this time around the party gave him a stern message that they cannot have a candidate whose winnability is going to be an issue. So that option, that one request of his, was turned down completely. Apart from that, of course, he'd been having issues with Yogi Adityanath, and he had also been complaining about the fact that his portfolio, the portfolio that he had, was not a portfolio that he deserved much better, and that in the past he has held much more important portfolios as a minister during the Mayawati's tenure, because he was then one of the very important ministers in the cabinet. Now this time around, the party also told him two things, that your daughter was given a ticket to fight for the member of parliament. She is a member of parliament. Daughter-in-law has been made a pramukh in the party. He himself has a cabinet position, and now he's asking for a ticket for his son, who last time lost. Also, there was a problem that his people, his close portrait he had brought at the time he crossed over to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Each one of them were given a ticket last time around and accommodated, and they fought and they won. This time around, the party was having issues in accommodating
Megha, in
them.
fact, do stay on with us. Let me go across to our editor-in-chief, Rahul Shivshankar, who also joins us. Rahul, it seems that there may be more behind the resignations than just the principles that these two mantris have been citing and saying on camera.
Absolutely. Well, look, as far as the BJP is concerned now, and Megha is very right, and she's there with us, and I hope she remains with us on air because she could corroborate what I have been told by my sources also, in conjunction with what Megha is saying, that the BJP is now fighting a rearguard action by putting out what it believes is its side of its story. It's saying that, look, the party has election after election always gone by winnability. That's the factor that has determined the BJP's ticket distribution strategy. And there are individuals in election after election who, when overlooked for a ticket, leave. If they were so unhappy, if Maurya and Chauhan were so unhappy, if they felt so marginalized, if they believed that there was an anti-OBC bias which was deep-rooted in the BJP, why did they join the party in the first place? Why did they continue in important positions for the longest period of time? And only now, just before the elections, they are now looking at the exit door and making excuses. Remember, sources in the BJP telling Times Now that in Bengal, there was a huge, large-scale movement of various top functionaries from the TMC to the BJP and, of course, from the BJP to the TMC. Both parties were breaking each other down and trying to solicit leaders. Here, too, you have a situation where a migration is taking place because certain individuals are finding it difficult to justify their tenure in office. 5 years. Some of them have not actually demonstrated a capacity for excellence, and therefore they have been asked to sit this one down, wait for perhaps to serve the party at an organizational level and not aspire for a ticket, which has rubbed them the wrong way. Secondly, in the case of Mr. Maurya, the BJP says, and these are BJP sources again to Times Now, as Megha has been telling us, that Mr. Maurya has been wanting, in fact, certain positions for his daughter in the union cabinet. Remember, she's a member of parliament, and he was hoping that in the rejig that took place last year, she would get a ministerial berth. But of course, that hasn't happened. Number two, most importantly, and this is something that needs to be looked at with some amount of course, circumspection, because we don't have a reaction from Mr. Maurya on this. He also wanted a ticket for his son. Now, a principle has been applied quite clearly in the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the most obvious example is that of the Gandhi family, where Varun and Menika Gandhi were not given ministerial berths, and even when they were, only one of them was picked at a time. So quite clearly, there has been, of course, a very, very clear-cut approach in the BJP strategy. Number one, no one is bigger than the party. No one individual is bigger than the party, number one. Most importantly, merit talks, not lineage. Parivarvad is not something that they want to in any way encourage, and therefore trying to sort of extenuate your influence on the party through your clan will not be accepted. And one post for one clan has been the long-standing principle. And the party also says that when we ask individuals to serve the party, they should be willing to do so. Ticket GVs is the word that has been used to label some of these leaders. So that's fundamentally what we are getting to here. Megha, over to you.
Well, Rahul, Megha is not connecting with us. We are still trying to connect with her. But then this is very important. And if I can come to you, Rahul, if you're still connected, what you were talking about, how meritocracy is what is expected to be the mainstay of the BJP when they announce the tickets. Remember, it's very important to explain to our viewers that the entire candidate list has not been announced by the BJP. However, what we are picking up, Rahul, is that meritocracy is going to be the cornerstone of their candidate selection, and many of them are not going to be making the cut. Is that perhaps which is also forcing a lot of these dissensions?
Well, look, obviously, as that's exactly what we are being told. Now, remember, all of this has to be taken with a pinch of salt because this is a version that is being put out by the BJP. No one has come on record in such explicit terms. We've had one particular leader here, another particular leader there, giving a point of view. But when you put it all together, this is really what comes off. We are also hearing, and this is another big breaking news story, we are being told that the party is very keen that Yogi Adityanath contests from Ayodhya. Megha has made this big expose here on Times Now. This big scoop is with Megha. Megha, if you can hear me, Megha Prasad, can you elaborate on this?
Connected with us?
Yes, go ahead. Megha Prasad, go ahead.
Yes, Rahul, it's a very important piece of information that we have picked up. And even though a final decision is awaited on this one, but you remember this very important meeting which is underway even right now in the national capital, being attended by Mr. Amit Shah and the Prabharis of the BJP who are handling Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Pradhan, Radha Mohan Singh, etc. And of course also having a representative from the RSS. They are of the opinion, Rahul, that the message that will go to the masses will be tremendous if Yogi Adityanath, as the face of the party, as the person who would be the next chief minister if the BJP comes back to power, should fight from Ayodhya. Now, the reason are two. They're saying that Ayodhya, with the recent developments and the construction of Ram Mandir, Ayodhya is back in focus, but it gives out two messages. One, the message of Hindutva, and two, the message of development, which is both very visible in that town lately. And so they want Yogi to fight from there. But the final call is not to be taken by Yogi himself. The final call, while his opinion will be taken, will be actually taken in the core committee meeting, which we don't know when it is scheduled. So in the CEC, when that meets, the final call would be taken, and it would be a part of the list of the candidates that would be announced by the party. So only then you will know. But this is what I'm picking up right now that comes in from inside the meeting that's currently on.
This is very important, Megha, that there is, of course, a determined attempt to try and send out a massive signal, in fact, to the Hindu vote base. Just a few days ago, you had a member of parliament from the BJP, if I'm not mistaken, coming out and saying that he would want Yogi Adityanath to contest from Mathura. But now you have another push, this time members in the key strategy meet saying that perhaps Yogi would be better served if he would contest from Ayodhya. The party would be better served if Yogi would contest from Ayodhya.
That's correct, Rahul. That's absolutely correct. And, Mathura perhaps can wait, is what the party feels. You had Keshav Prasad Maurya, remember, make that whole point about how they would want the creation of the mandir in Mathura, and Mathura would be next in line. But I think party as a whole thinks that Mathura can wait, and it's time for them to capitalize on Ayodhya. Now, Rahul, let's understand two things. That as far as time is concerned, and the way the construction is going on for the Ram Mandir at Ayodhya, it looks to me, Rahul, that when it comes to the placement, the actual construction with those sandstones, that has been specially brought and crafted for constructing this mandir, I think the first sandstone will be placed on the plinth just around the time the elections of Uttar Pradesh. Everything's been timed so well as far as Ayodhya is concerned, and the party would not want to lose on this opportunity, Rahul. A historic verdict from the Supreme Court that gave them the clearance to go ahead and construct Ram Mandir. Prime Minister himself going there for Shilanyas, Prime Minister's trusted man handling the construction. Every now and then you have the Chief Minister or somebody important in the government going there to, rub this point that the BJP has perhaps delivered on the promise that they had made to the people years ago, decades ago, that this is the time under Modi's leadership that you will have a Bhavya Ram Mandir there in Ayodhya. And what better opportunity
really
to,
because the reason why some individuals were hoping that Yogi would take up the challenge from Mathura was to consolidate the party in Western Uttar Pradesh. It would have sent out a massive message. It would have led to perhaps the burgeoning of sentiment amongst BJP cadre in Mathura. Also, it would have perhaps rallied the base, which is at this moment, in some sort of a convulsion. Because remember, the Jat Kisan has a problem right now with the Bharatiya Janata Party. That's a popular narrative. It needs to be, of course, ascertained on the ground. So the idea was that if Yogi was asked to contest from Mathura, it would perhaps galvanize the base and win back to the BJP certain supporters that might actually be right now in the Samajwadi-RLD camp. So it's a toss-up between Ayodhya and Mathura. Why is Mathura certainly not in the reckoning right now?
Well, Rahul, like I said, these things, as far as Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, let's be clear about one thing absolutely, Rahul, that, they go by hard facts. If they think that Yogi fighting or representing the constituency of Ayodhya will win them more seats, then that will be the decision. Let's not mistake at any stage that Bharatiya Janata Party is going to decide on the basis of emotions, etc. No. It is just the assessment that they have of the seats and seats they expect to win. If Yogi fighting from Ayodhya is going to augment that number, then Yogi will be made to fight from Ayodhya. Let's be clear about that. So I'm quite sure that the reasons that have gone into consideration, like I said again, Rahul, this is not the final decision. So let us wait. This has been thrown up in the party, in the meeting today. Party is meeting today. That would be a good idea if Yogi would fight from there. The final call is taken by the CEC. But like I said, if at all this finally becomes this party, concludes upon that Yogi has to fight from Ayodhya, be clear that it would be on the basis of very serious assessment when it comes to the number of seats that they think will help if Yogi fights from there. So at this moment, I am not in a position to touch base with those who are sitting inside the meeting because it's still on. But once that gets over, Rahul, we will, perhaps get to know a little more as to what were the reasons why this entire idea came up.
Well, absolutely. In fact, in the last couple of days where we've seen Akhilesh Yadav's concerted efforts to try and mobilize the non-Yadav OBC votes and try and sway them, it's even more important perhaps for the BJP to ensure that they have Hindu votes consolidation. And perhaps for them, they're all placing their bets rather on Yogi contesting from Ayodhya. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, Megha Pratap is there getting us the inside details. She tells us that the BJP High Command will be taking the final decision on this. Well, with that, we are slipping into a short break.